Welcome back, everyone, to AWS OnAir. Today, we're going to talk all about Supercharge your container security with threat detection. My name is Aaron Hunter. I'm an AWS Training and Certification Principal Developer Advocate, and I'm joined with a couple of my friends, Kim and Alex.
Hey, guys.
Kim.
Well, really happy to be here today, Aaron. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Kimberly Dixon. I'm a worldwide go-to-market lead for our detection and response services. So that includes Amazon Inspector that we're going to be learning about today, but also Guard Duty, Security Hub, Security Lake, and a whole host of other services that we have in AWS.
Yeah. And I'm Alex Waddle. I'm a security specialist SA. I'm based out of the UK, and I work with customers all over the world on helping them improve their security around things like Inspector. So looking forward to the session today.
Awesome. Now, question for everyone who's watching us live today. Quick question for you. How many of you are currently using Amazon Inspector or ECR, or Elastic Container Registry? Because that is something we're going to demo today and teach all of you.
Yeah.
Kim, can you maybe tell us more about security context and what we're doing today?
Absolutely. So we're going to be talking a lot around what Amazon Inspector has actually released in the last few months around supercharging your container security. And really, it's the way that we're looking at helping our customers with scale as well as visibility when it comes to container security challenges. So when you think about containers, we think about the fact that multiple containers are running applications and microservices, and that you've got to scale across accounts, across regions. And what we've actually done is to help customers put that into context when it comes to being able to look at their vulnerabilities and understanding where they're running. And that also leads to visibility as well. So a lot of issues with, looking at customers deploying insecure images or third-party source code that might not be something that, security administrators can actually control. So looking at the way that we can actually help our customers with both scale, visibility when it comes to vulnerability management.
Awesome. Now, visibility and vulnerability and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot that happens there behind the scenes. I know Alex is going to do a demo for us. Now, a quick question for Alex. What is the insecure dependencies and code stuff that you're going to show us today?
So what we're going to show is that when you're creating your code and when you're adding multiple packages to your code, that you're including packages that might be your own packages and might be open source packages, but you don't actually know perhaps the provenance of those packages. So you may actually be introducing code insecurities into your software by having all these dependencies in there, and you just don't get that visibility into it. Now, this is the great thing about Inspector. We actually surface those to you, so then you get that full visibility into that, which is going to be, it's great for customers.
Yeah, and containers tend to be extremely short-lived as well. So it's very hard to actually attribute where the security threats actually live.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for the demo.
I've heard a lot about insecure and making it more secure, and I'm a pretty insecure person, so can it help me?
Well, I mean, it does code security. It doesn't necessarily do human or emotional insecurities. I'm sorry.
Okay. Because we're here at the security conference at Reinforce, I know there's CVEs. CVEs. What is that? Common
vulnerabilities and exploits. So basically, these are CVEs that MITRE kind of surfaces, and then it's trapped in, it's enlisted in the National Vulnerabilities Database.
Okay.
So I think for you, what you're thinking about is CEVs.
CEV.
Common emotional vulnerabilities, Aaron.
Okay, yes.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll add it onto the roadmap. We'll see what we can do, right?
Okay, awesome. Now, let's go ahead and maybe talk more about the benefits of Inspector and why we would use that to solve some challenges, what those challenges are.
Yes, so with Amazon Inspector, the way that we've actually thought about our service is really that we want the service to be able to do automated discovery of your resources that you deploy. So anytime that you've got a new EC2 instance that's deployed, a new container image that's deployed, or any Lambda function that's invoked, Amazon Inspector actually goes in and discovers all of your resources that's being deployed. And that's really adding to that visibility that I spoke about earlier. We take in vulnerability intelligence from over 50 threat feeds. So that includes the CISA, for example, the National Vulnerabilities Database, AWS Threat Intelligence, but also enhanced with partner tools such as Recorded Future. And another really strong thing about Amazon Inspector is the fact that you've got a single-click organizational deployment. So if you turn on Amazon Inspector across your organization and you delegate a delegated admin account, the scan configurations that you actually set up is, things that your member accounts cannot change. And that's invaluable when it comes to a security administrator. And lastly is prioritization. We actually help our customers prioritize by understanding a contextualized risk score, which Alex will show in the demo later, but it's really cool because we understand your context. We use automated reasoning to look at network reachability of your EC2 instance, so it's not just the CVSS scores that you get from the NVD, the National Vulnerabilities Database, but also we look at whether or not there are external paths out to the internet that could then be exploited.
Right.
And that contextual score helps with that prioritization.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, question for all of our friends here. Do you currently face any prioritization challenges? And let us know in the chat so that way we can maybe pull some of those up and answer those questions. I'll be keeping an eye on the chat here. All right, Alex.
Time for the demo.
Time for the demo.
Time for the demo. All right. Let's do
Free
this.
to the
Okay.
demo,
Free
guys.
to the demo, guys. All I'll say is it worked on my laptop.
Yep. It works on my end.
What am I? Okay, so what you can see here is this is my delegated administration account that I've got on screen here. And this, as Kimberly said, this is where we're seeing across my organization, all of my accounts. I can see what's configured in terms of the coverage. I've got 9 accounts in this organization. 100% of those accounts are covered by Inspector, but only 90% of the instances within those accounts are actually covered. All of my container repositories are covered, but I'm only getting 69% of my Lambda functions. And that, from a security perspective, is something that we probably want to dive into. And in the second part of when we demo this in a little bit, you'll see what we can see down in individual accounts. You can see I've got a number of different things around critical findings. I've got findings with exploits available. I can see that I've got 17 findings out of nearly 2,000 findings with public exploits. So that's probably want to be something that I might want to have a look at. I get all this summary here, which is great. And I can go through all of that. I can see all the different things in my accounts across the whole of my organization. But to enable Inspector across your organization, it's really, really easy. You go into the account management screen here, and I can automatically activate that for all my new member accounts. I can activate it for EC2 scanning, ECR scanning, or the Lambda scanning, and I can do either Lambda standard or Lambda standard with code scanning. These are independently enabled. I can choose which ones I want to do. If I leave it like that, every new account that I spin up will have Inspector automatically enabled. But for the purpose of today, what I've got is, I've got an account here where I've got this Unicorn prod account, and you can see that it doesn't have the Lambda scanning enabled.
It's deactivated, yeah.
It's deactivated, right? So in the traditional way of doing these things, I'd have to get access to this account, I'd have to go down into the account, I'd have to figure out how I enable all this. One of the cool things about Inspector, we just go here and we say I want to activate that, and I hit submit. And what will happen, it will happen, it's spinning, it will activate it, and then it takes a few seconds to activate. There you go, it's activated. So I've now activated that in my account. All of the Lambda functions in that account are now actually being scanned for software vulnerabilities, which is really cool.
Yeah. So
Alex, I'm sorry. I'm watching the chat, and someone called us out for no demo dances.
No,
Apparently we got to dance before we do the demo. All right.
Yeah.
We did the demo god
I
prayer.
did the demo god dance.
Wait, hold on. Let's do the demo dance. Okay. All right.
Is that good enough?
Back to the demo dance.
Well, guys.
If my kids could see me
God.
now.
Oh. Join AWS, guys.
Yeah,
God.
he gets to come and dance with us. All right, so this from a security persona is great. I've got full visibility. I can administer all of my information here, which is fantastic. And then I get that centralized view. I can see all of my instances across all of my accounts. So I don't have to go into all my different accounts. I can see my networking services account. I can see my prod account. I can see I've got a Reinforce 2025. That's interesting. I must have a special account I've set up just for
Oh my
today.
gosh, what is this?
Right.
Yeah.
You can see it's running Linux, and we're actively monitoring that. And I can see here I've got things that are stale as well. It's not been able to actually get a software inventory of it. So I've got full visibility across the entirety of my organization. See my container repositories, and we're going to come back to that in a later point.
See Reinforce 2025 again.
You
There
see
it is.
Reinforce 2025?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we've got lots of these things going on here. I've got container images, and you can see I've got lots of container images. So there's a lot of things going on here where what I can do is look at my Lambda functions. I can see which Lambda functions. I've got 100 of them across the whole of my account, all of my accounts. Now, lots of customers will have maybe many thousands of these, and you'll see that you'll have certain number that are scanning and some that are not scanning. And the reason it's not scanning is either that maybe we don't support the operating system yet, or that the scan eligibility has expired, because we only will scan if a function has been modified or invoked in the last 90 days. So
I just want to pause and again look at, the idea of this coverage, right? And the scale and the visibility that we're running at. These are, imagine, this is Alex's demo account, but imagine this is your organization. How many thousands of accounts you might be running, how many resources you have deployed. And Inspector just gives you all that in this beautiful
Not just spanning across all the different accounts, but all the environments within those accounts, all the different applications.
Exactly.
All the workloads,
all the insecurities.
Yeah. Emotional or otherwise.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But one of the interesting things about this, by having this ability to see at this level, I, as a security person, I can decide what is it that I want to prioritize. Do I want to prioritize that I've got critical findings in containers? Do I want to look at particular accounts that have got the most critical findings? And you can see I don't have any critical findings, which is great, but I do have a prod account that's got nearly 2,000 findings, so maybe that's a particular focus for me. And this is a great thing about Inspector. It gives you all of this visibility that allows you to decide what are the things that I want to prioritize first. Do I want to prioritize based upon the images that I've got in particular accounts? Do I want to prioritize fixing my EC2 instances by maybe patching those? Or do I actually want to go and look at my Lambda functions? And it makes it really easy to be able to actually go in and find out at a really high level, where should I be focusing my efforts? Because security teams are constrained. We need to engage with developers and the application teams to support us getting all of our software vulnerabilities addressed.
Nice. Now, when we're working through these, there's a whole lot of like DevOps type stuff that happens behind the scenes. Now, DevOps, it's a lot of moving pieces. You're developing things, it's operations, but there's also DevSecOps, right? Mm-hmm. So with DevSecOps, I think there's an opportunity for the DevSecOps folks here to take a look at the Amazon Inspector and maybe improve your own security posture, improve the insecurities that you have within your application. Maybe you can talk to a therapist about your own insecurities. I may as well. But ultimately what we're looking at here is this idea of having these scans, right? Mm-hmm. Now with the scans, what are the scan options? Can you tell us more about those?
Yeah. So when you have your enabling of the particular workload, so going back to the account management, you can enable on EC2, ECR, and Lambda. So if we think about EC2, the way that works is we have what's called hybrid scanning, or we have agent-based. And agent-based is the way that we used to do the scanning, where you had to have the SSM agent installed, the software management agent installed, and now we support hybrid scanning, and that allows instances that don't have agents installed to actually be able to then be scanned by the Inspector service. And every time a workload is an EC2 instance is deployed, Inspector will automatically scan that as it comes up, and then it will scan it on an ongoing basis. So I can enable it here. You can see I've got hybrid mode actually enabled in my account, and I can switch between hybrid and agent-based. The default was agent, now it's hybrid, and that allows you to have full coverage across all your instances, which is super easy to do.
So what does that say there? It says, Inspector will use agent-based scanning for all eligible instances managed by SSM.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And agentless scanning using EBS snapshots for eligible instances that are not managed by SSM. Agentless.
Yeah.
So it's that operationality, right? The fact that we're taking that heavy lifting away from you and helping you actually manage this. And I should note, the different scans, like there's no scan differences or finding differences between hybrid or agent-based scan. It's just a different way of scanning. And obviously, hybrid is default and recommended because, then you can make sure that you're actually having the scan coverage.
Yeah. And it doesn't have any performance impact on the instance as well, which is awesome, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't, it's one of those, it's sort of really just, we made this stuff wicked simple for people. It's one of those, people just, when they enable this, they actually think, is this really working? Is this doing anything?
Yeah.
Because they don't see any uplift in their CPU, which is amazing, right?
Yeah.
Then we look at containers, and in container mode, when you're looking at your Elastic Container Repositories or ECR, you can choose when you want to rescan. So you can rescan based upon the last time the container image was pulled or the last time it was in use. The default for that is 14 days. But you can choose to change that. So in my environment here, I've got last in use for the last 180 days.
Roughly 6 months-ish.
About 6 months, yeah. And then I could change that to last pull date.
Okay.
And if I wanted to, I could say, well, the last time it was pulled, let's say it was 30 days.
Okay.
Now what happens here, by enabling these things at the delegated administrator account, that gets pushed down across all of my accounts across my organization. So now within all of the accounts underneath that, all the member accounts, I can't make those changes. So it's super important. And the other one is image push date. So if I push an image up to the container repository, I can set that. Again, the default is 14 days, but I've got mine set to 90 days. So 90 days after I push an image, it's going to keep scanning it for that 90 days. So that continuous scanning.
And what's cool about this is like within our console here, if you click on, I think the info button on the far right-hand side, that should bring you to a page that says like, oh, content currently not available. That's okay.
Enough for that.
But for most times, it'll actually have a link to some documentation on the page itself, right?
Yeah.
So what's cool about that is if we pull up my screen here, then I'll actually show everyone where they can learn more about the configuring the Amazon ECR rescan duration that you just showed us. So you said the default is 14 days.
14 days.
And then we have 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 180 days. And let me zoom in so that way everyone can see, because, I got small eyes and this is small text. Let's go ahead and zoom in. So image rescan duration, you just showed us that.
Yeah.
We also have image push date duration. And then we have configuring the Amazon ECR rescan duration and the exact steps. So you just showed us, but in case anyone wants to have some documentation, you can actually reference that in the public docs.
Yeah, it's all there. Everything you need is all there. Yep.
Amazing.
I'm actually really excited about the last in use state.
What is this? Yes, tell us more about it.
So Alex is actually going to show you something very cool. And again, goes back to that prioritization aspect that we spoke about earlier.
The rescan duration, so last in use date and last pull date.
No, yep.
So last pull date was
what it used to be. So we had last push date, last pull date, but we've just added last in use date. And what could that actually mean?
And that's also now the default.
That is so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you want me to show you that?
Let's do it.
You want to see it?
Let's
All right.
let's see it. Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay. So this is my administrator account, and I'm going to look at my container images. Or I can look at it by container repository, and I've got one here, container repository. I've got a couple of images in here. I don't have any critical findings, but I do have a bunch of these, like Nginx. So if I click on this, and it would tell me where am I deployed, and it says I'm not actually deployed anywhere for that one. Go to this one, I'm not deployed anywhere, because in that particular region, I haven't got my cluster. So let's spin across to a different region.
Okay.
All right.
Untagged. Findings by container image. Got it.
Okay. Now you can see I've got a lot more images here. All right. I look at my container repositories, and all of a sudden I've got 28 critical vulnerabilities. Now I'm really interested in this one because that's a lot of critical vulnerabilities. So let's look at this. It says I've got 4 affected images, but I've actually got 2 WordPress ones, and I've got 2 Nginx.
Okay.
I've got latest, which has got no criticals, so that's a good thing. But I've also got 2 other images. I've got Nginx and WordPress. So let's look at Nginx. I've got 7. I've got this deployed in 10 places. So there's an amazing amount of engineering effort that we've deployed in the background just to make that little link appear.
And so to just pause here, this is basically the new functionality that we've released a few months ago that allows you to map vulnerable images to where your pods and your tasks are actually deployed. So where is that image actually deployed?
Right.
One of the biggest asks from our customers, I think we had so many product feature requests from this, and we just deployed this year, and that really does help our customers in terms of actually prioritizing what to do first. In the past, I think, you'd have to go in and actually describe or list and try and figure out how do we get to that actual image and look at where that's deployed. But now we've done that for you, and it's really, Alex is going to show you in like a second. It's a hyperlink, and it leads you directly to where it is being deployed so you can go do those fixes. So really, really big change, right? If not, in the past, you'd have to do prioritization based on environment, which, looking at the number of severity of findings we had just now, could be very imprecise and not really good for helping our customers prioritize quickly.
Absolutely. So Alex, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Now, Kim mentioned there's a link that you can click. And that's in the console.
It's literally
directly in the console.
Okay, so let's pull the screen up, and then we'll be able to see under. So if you X out of this real quick and show everyone where that was. So right here under deployed ECS tasks, EKS pods. This is what screen are we looking at right now? This is the container image.
By container image.
Okay.
So if I look at my container images, I can see each of these. So what I do is let me just move that over to give us a bit more space. So I have this clickable SHA-256 here.
That's your image.
So that's the image. So I click on that, and what I get through to is I get this summary screen. So nice summary screen that shows me the last in use state, So the last time that we scanned this and we saw that it was in use was June the 16th, which would be, I think, last night.
Okay. Yeah.
And we last pulled that on June the 14th.
Okay.
And then what I see is I see all the different findings. So the interesting thing here is I've got a lot of findings. I have 7 critical, 33 high, and 24 medium.
And then
In past times, we would probably have thought, well, let's figure out, let me get the latest version of curl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me stick the new version of curl into this
The
image.
CVE, not the
CV
CE.
Not the CVE, the
Yes.
CEV.
Yeah.
Not the
The,
CV. Yeah.
the common vulnerability and
confused.
exploits, not
Yeah.
the common emotional vulnerability.
the
we're
emotional
back to
exploits.
this again.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. Now, what you'll see is that we have in these, we've rated these by severity. So we've got criticals, then we've got highs, then we've got mediums. And we're using information, as Kimberly said earlier, to be able to put prioritization around that. We use information from the software vendors, and we use information that we know about that particular vulnerability to then provide additional context.
Can I pause this here for a second
Sure.
and like dive a little bit deeper into these
Sure.
different severities?
Yeah.
So if we can pull my screen up because I want to show everyone how to understand severity levels for your Amazon Inspector findings that Alex is showing us right now. So there's a page that you can link to. I'll make sure that we have a link in the chat. It may not happen right now, but we'll make sure that gets there at some point immediately after our stream here. But software package vulnerability severity, Alex showed us his severities within his image that he deployed.
Yeah.
So we saw Nginx and we saw curl and all that, right?
Yeah.
But essentially there's informational, low, medium, high, and critical. And you said you had how many critical?
I think I had like 7.
7?
7, yeah.
Okay. That's kind of a lot.
That for one image, it probably is a fair
Yeah.
number.
Yeah. But you're gonna walk
It's not like you did it on purpose or anything
No,
for the demo.
absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. It's not like you did it for
But
on
listen,
purpose.
No.
but listen, we completely understand that customers can find themselves in these situations
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
absolutely.
you're using these public images.
And we can see here there's also code vulnerability severities, network
Yeah.
reachability severities, and then that's a lot. This table just keeps scrolling.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we have relation or additional pages that are related. So
Yeah.
Alex, let's jump back over to your demo.
Yeah, let's do that. So, to switch over my screen.
Yep.
Is it over? All right.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, you can see here, I've got this. I click on this particular image.
Okay.
There we go. And it comes up. There we are, that particular vulnerability. So what I get here is I get a really nice summary at the top, which explains in pretty plain terms what the vulnerability is, and what is something that I should probably be thinking about looking at in terms of the findings itself. Is there a fix available for this? This is really important. We actually can provide information that says, is there a fix available? And it's a vulnerability in the package, but also, is there an exploit available for it? This is incredibly important because this allows me to prioritize based upon, is there a vulnerability that's being exploited right now? And therefore, if there is, I might think about prioritizing that above other vulnerabilities where there might not be a fix and it might not actually being exploited right now. I also see the version that's installed. I also see the version that I need to move to. So I'm at R0 and I need to move to R6 on this. And it gives me instructions on what to do. It tells me I should do an APK update and then upgrade curl, and I get information about the
Tells you it does a what kind of update?
It's called an APK update.
APK.
APK update.
Okay.
It's a package update for the
Yeah.
container.
And upgrade curl. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it tells you to do that, and you think, great, I'm going to do that for every one of these vulnerabilities.
Oh,
Nobody
no.
does that for
No.
No.
Crazy.
No. So what you do is you pull the latest. You probably pull the most up-to-date image.
Ideally.
Ideally, you want to get the most up-to-date image.
Yeah.
And take that one, and then you need to be able to go and deploy that.
Yeah.
And that's where the mapped container images really helps, because you now need to know, where am I going to deploy this image?
Right.
I'm going to fix not all of these issues right now, but I'm going to fix a massive number of these images,
Yeah.
these issues rather.
Because some of
By
them you might want to
deployment.
do like some more testing to make sure that it's fixing
Yeah.
it, not
Yeah.
creating more vulnerabilities.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Exactly. And again, right, it's a critical vulnerability. You know that it's actually in production. So
Yes.
what are you going to do?
Yeah.
That's definitely something
Yeah.
you should go
Right.
first.
So now imagine I was actually down in, say, my workload account. I could go into this, and if I drop down into my workload account, actually, I'll go into, this is me now in my workload account. And imagine I'm now an application developer. I've been told by the security team, look, we've got these vulnerabilities. Now, here I am again. I can see, if I went into the right
Right region.
Okay, to the right region. So let me do that in the right region. There we
I
go.
think what's also cool about our console here is like that blue banner at the very top. It tells us what might be new.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's read that real quick. Amazon Inspector now supports mapping of container images to running containers.
This is
This is what you're
exactly what
showing.
we're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
exactly
it.
what we're saying.
That's
So
it.
we're always putting this stuff up at the top to
Up
at the
make
top.
sure the customers get to see all the cool things that we're
amazing.
launching. So I'm now one of the application team. I've been told by the security team, hey, you've got 7 critical vulnerabilities. Can we please get this image up to date? Can we please make sure we've got this deployed elsewhere? Out into the right environments with the right image. So now I've got my deployed tasks. I click on this and I can see I've got this deployed on an ECS cluster and I've got it deployed on an EKS cluster. I've got 6 of them running in my ECS cluster, and I don't actually have any running on my EKS cluster. I've got 4 that are stopped. So I probably won't focus on that one. I'll focus on this one here.
Yeah.
And I can click on that, and what this is now going to do is send me directly across into the Elastic Container Service console, where I can see the configuration of this particular task within ECS. So in ECS, you create a task and you define the task and you say what's the container image that I want to run. And what I'll do is I can create a new revision, and when I do that, I go down and I have the opportunity here to be able to put down latest, and that will be the image that's now the latest image that I want to pull. And I'll then create that. And then what I want to do is I want to now update the ECS service. So I update that ECS service, I pick my ECS cluster, that's my Nginx task that I'm wanting to update, and I then say update.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's doing it for you.
It's now running
It's
through
running
doing the
it
update
through.
for me.
All of that.
It's really simplifying the entire process.
100%.
So are you saying that this is now ClickOps?
You can do this
Do
in
this
code.
all. Yeah.
Okay.
You can do this in code.
It's
So for the-
also via the API as well. Like the
API.
Inspector API, that's also available. So
Okay.
yeah.
So it's not just ClickOps. You can do it through code. You can hit the
No.
API. So for our DevOps friends out there, don't worry. You can still code this,
Yes.
and you can make it more efficient. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So inspector finding types. Have you walked us through that yet?
So the finding types, let's have a look at the finding types. We have got multiple finding types.
Actually, while we're there,
Yes.
I just also want to note for everyone, right? Because you're probably imagining, how can I enable this feature? And this feature is actually already enabled in your account. We did this completely for you. We
Yeah.
went in, we upgraded Inspector service. This is available for you if you have container images that are currently being deployed somewhere, and you wanted to check if Inspector has it. Like, definitely go look at this, because we deployed this for you across all your accounts, across all your regions, at no additional cost.
Now, Kim, I'm always conscious. I'm a super frugal person. So what is that going to cost me?
No additional cost.
Okay.
Genuinely, we believe that this was a security value for our customers that was a non-negotiable. And so we released this feature because a lot of customers asked for it. And really, we're in the business here of keeping you secure. So yeah.
Yeah.
Proud of our team.
Yeah.
Very proud of our team.
Yeah. A lot of cool stuff we've been launching over the last few months. We've
I've
got
seen it.
more to come.
Yeah.
We've got more to come in this demo.
in this demo.
In
All
this
right.
actual demo.
Let's go.
All right. Okay.
So we're going to look at the finding types, right?
Yeah.
So we have 400 plus findings. There's these different severities of critical, high, medium,
Yep.
low, informational, and then the different types themselves.
Yeah.
Can you show us what these types are? I see.
I've got network reachability
Yeah.
findings, I've got package vulnerabilities, and I've got code vulnerabilities. So
Okay.
network reachability is where, through our automated reasoning, we've been able to establish a path from the internet to the EC2 instance that's running some software with some software vulnerabilities on it.
Okay.
So if I select that and I hit apply, I get this information that says that I've got a particular instance where I've got port 22, which is SSH, is reachable from an internet gateway. So there's a particular instance, and I've got a security group on that instance that allows port 22 through. That might be okay for me. That might be what I'm okay with. But there's also other ones there, and there are particular ports where there's no particular issue with having maybe those ports on it. But you might have
Yeah.
other ports like RDP on 3389, which is potentially a really vulnerable port. So we'll raise that and say that's like a high severity for you. So you
Okay.
can focus on those.
Can you customize this also? So like if you know that you have a port that's more sensitive?
So what you can do is you can create what's called a suppression rule. So if you had a particular one here, I could say I want to suppress that.
Okay.
So I don't want to suppress. I want to suppress that so it doesn't appear anymore.
Yeah.
If, on the other hand, a particular port that was very sensitive to me, I don't think I can do that natively in Inspector, but I can use something like Security Hub to actually increase the severity of that finding and aggregate it together into Security Hub. But
Security
not
Hub's powerful because it's almost
yeah.
like the hub of security. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
hold on. That's the name. That's in the. It's in the name. Okay.
It's all in the name.
It's all in name.
We're very
We're good at
very
naming.
unsubtle.
Very
We're good at naming.
We're gonna name it.
We're good at naming. Let's have a look at the other finding types. So package vulnerabilities, I think you probably saw some of those already.
Yep.
Various packages we've got curl, all the different packages and all the different resources. So Lambda, EC2, operating system packages, and also on the containers. And then the other one that we have is the code vulnerabilities. Again, just go to here and do code vulnerabilities. And the code vulnerabilities is where, and this is where the Lambda code scanning really comes in and really shines, because what customers have often found difficult is I create this code, I push my code up into Lambda, and then I don't know, have I got insecure cryptography, have I got log injection issues with that? And when I click on this, I can see I've got a particular path, and if there was a location in that, it would maybe give me the actual, if I look at the SQL injection one, or say path traversal. It's not behaving today. It's not giving me the vulnerability location.
Oh, no.
No, I know. Don't know why.
Are you in the right account?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's not good. Something's broken.
Check the hard-coded. Oh,
Yeah, they're all
broken.
none of them are working.
What?
The demo gods have
Wait, we have to do the
failed us.
dance again.
Do the dance
Do
again.
the dance again. Quick.
Okay, okay.
Let me just check in another location, see if we've got some here. No, it's not giving us any of those. No, it's not giving me any at all. And I don't know why.
It's okay.
That's weird.
That's okay, but we will be dropping a link to the inspector documentation, whereby we actually detail how that works. And if you go search in inspector Lambda code scanning on YouTube or onto our security blogs, we have examples of what that will look like. So hopefully the demo gods behave, and we can at least see an example of what that might look like. But if not, guys, the documentation and security blogs of everything.
And you know what? I actually have a question I'm going to pull up on the screen here for our friends who are watching us live, because we just walked through all these different finding types and everything. So if we can pull my screen up real quick, I have a question for all of our friends. Which of the following, I'll read it here before we get it on the screen. Which of the following Amazon Inspector finding types will help you identify software in your AWS environment that are exposed to common vulnerabilities and exposures, the CVEs, not the CEVs? Is it code? Is it package? Or is it network? Now, what's cool about this is you can just go ahead and type 1, 2, or 3 in the chat, and then that'll cast your vote. So you don't have to type code or package or network. You can if you want to, but that's a lot of extra work here. And while you're thinking through this, keep in mind the question is asking you for a finding type that will help you identify software in your AWS environment that are exposed to these CVEs. And if you want to know the answer, it's probably be on the screen here pretty soon, but you can take a look at this link, which is the Amazon Inspector finding types. There's package vulnerability, findings, identify software packages in your environment that may be related to that question. There's code vulnerabilities, and there's network reachability. I'm sorry, there is no human insecurities listed here.
No.
You know what? I think that joke actually was our lucky star, I guess you call it, because guess what? The demo's working.
Yeah,
Well,
demo's working.
We got to show the answer for the question first.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So the answer for the question, once we get it up on screen here, the correct answer is package. So for those who guessed package, you are
job.
correct. And you can read more about code and network on that page I just showed you. Let's go back over to the demo now that's working.
Yeah. Don't ask me what I did,
The dance.
because I can't tell you.
It's the dance.
It was the happy dance. I
I,
think
I showed a
dance.
poll question.
And the joke.
it was
yeah.
a joke.
It was
the
the
dance.
joke.
Yeah, it was the
Everything
joke.
put together.
Everything
It
combined
was,
together.
Penelope over here.
Yeah. So what you can see, if I'm looking at this Lambda function here, I've deliberately got this insecure Lambda function, and I've intentionally written bad code. Some might say that's just my normal code, but I have actually written intentionally bad code. And what you'll see is that we've actually highlighted the line of this code in this Python function here. It said line 45. And we've recommended a fix, and we've given you links across to various pieces of documentation in MITRE, and when you go across to that, you get all this information. Now, for developers, this is incredibly powerful because it now gives them the context and all the information as to why this is such a problem and why they should actually go fix that. So it's super helpful for them.
You know what? I don't think it was anything that we did. I'm watching the chat right now, and the chat was doing demo dances.
Oh, was it?
Oh,
They were,
yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank
they
you
were
for that.
all, they were all over it.
That's
You know what?
solidarity, guys.
Yeah, they're dancing. They got dino dances. You're a dreamer. I like you. I like you, dreamer. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone. So
Thank you,
love the
guys.
enthusiasm.
Thank you for the solidarity.
All
This
right.
is hard being here with all these jokes that I have to endure.
Now, we just covered a whole lot of stuff, and we have about 3 minutes left. Where can people go to learn more about Amazon Inspector?
Wait, we have something very cool to show you.
No,
really
wait.
new.
Okay,
Really,
okay,
we're
okay,
gonna do
okay.
it really
Can we do it?
quick. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, guys.
do it.
We have just released, as of this morning at 9 a.m., Inspector Code Security, which Alex is going to show you. And that allows you to connect to your GitHub and GitLab repos and actually get code remediation fixes and have Amazon Inspector actually provide guardrails to those codes from your third-party repos. We give you SaaS, SCA, as well as IAC scanning across CloudFormation, CDK, and Terraform.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All of them. Right. So,
Yes.
super quick. This is code security. I've got code security configured. I've got a GitLab self-managed instance that I'm running myself. Again, being a bad person, I've got lots of insecure things running on it. I've got some code here for a solution called ARIA and this other thing called TerraGoat. We use this a lot to test out insecure Terraform. I've got these connected, and you can see that the scan is inactive because we're running those on a weekly basis, but I've got, it's all configured, and I configure it here, and I can look at that and say, what do I want to do? I want to do it on a weekly basis. I want to do it based upon a pull request or a push. So it integrates with developer workflows as they push requests into the GitLab repository. It's being scanned by Inspector for code vulnerabilities, which is awesome. Then we come back and I go to my findings. And this has been running, we enabled this at about 9 a.m. this morning,
9 a.m.
9:01.
901.
Yeah.
901.
Is that why it
Just-
says,
Just when it came out.
well, your account ID should be 901, 901?
I did it 919191.
Yeah.
But what I've got here is I've got information here that says I've got critical vulnerabilities. And what is that all about? Well, it turns out I've got hard-coded credentials, and I've got this Terraform AWS EC2 Terraform file that's actually got an access key and an access key ID
That
hard-coded.
seems like it might be something you don't want to do.
That's something you definitely don't want to do.
Okay.
And what we say here is that's why we raise this as a critical issue, and we say, appears your code contains a hard-coded secret. Maybe you should actually think about changing that. Maybe you should, do something different. Here's another one: SQL injection in another Lambda function. Again,
Okay.
pointing at the line in the
Pointing
code
at line 59
Line
of
59 of code.
5,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
of 5,000 and giving you information and saying, go here, go to MITRE, get the information, and go fix it.
It's pretty amazing.
You make that fix in your code, you push that into the repository, and these findings will start to get addressed. So security gets to see it, developers get to work on it.
Wow.
From both sides, it's awesome.
That's very, very powerful because
Really
it's
powerful.
really simplifying the process of like security
Yep.
posture and controls for our customers.
Yeah, end to end.
Yeah.
End to end.
All right.
Actually, I have the link to the documentation if you want to show it.
We will drop that in just a few moments
We will
here
do
for our
that.
friends, but let's go ahead and pull my screen up. I have 3 resources for you all to learn so that way you can continue jumping in. We have the Amazon Inspector tag within the blog itself, so we can see that. Now you want to go to the AWS blog, check out the security blog, and then you can take a look at this tag for Amazon Inspector. We'll make it easier for you so that way you don't even have to worry about doing this. I'll drop a link in the chat in just a few moments here. We also have within AWS Skill Builder. Of course, I got to talk about it because I'm within the training certification team. We just taught you about Amazon Inspector and a brand new feature of Amazon Inspector to help you with your code security. So Amazon Inspector Getting Started is one that I'll link to you as well. And the next one here is my favorite. It's Amazon EKS Knowledge Badge Readiness Path. A lot of different courses here. You can see there are 12 digital trainings. It's about 9 hours of time. And at the very end, you take the badge assessment, you get a badge. But that's not all. We have a lot more coming to you from AWS OnAir, live at Reinforce 2025 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Thank you, Kim and Alex.
Thank you so much.
Let's get out of here.
All right. We're done.
Bye, everyone.